Hey, twin, what's going on? What is going on? In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of what I call the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. I am the gatekeeper or the host of this program. I'm the host of this program, known here on social media, wherever you may find me. I am known as the mighty Angel Snuff 7. I'm your soul brother, and hopefully your Taalik Ibn'rad. Hey, what's up there, Keith? There are those, hey Earthman, there are those who may accuse me of being argumentative. He has no facts, he has no evidence, he just likes to argue and debate. He just likes to run his mouth. I do not argue, I do not debate for fun. I will admit, a long time ago when I first got on YouTube and these ideas was fresh, I wanted to test the water. So I did seek to find debate and argue with anybody that I could find, because I wanted to see just how valid my position was. And of course, even to this day, I really don't know, because on YouTube you have people the only thing they do is parrot, they puppet, they plagiarize what they heard from somebody else. They really don't know what they're talking about. They just copy a DVD, copy a tape, repeat what they heard or what they read in a book. That's not being able to test. That's not being able to really test your opinion or your viewpoint. Now, there are those on YouTube, self-made scholars or whoever they want to call themselves, and they have thousands of people listening to them or whatever. They will not debate. They will not step to the plate. So I am able to test and validate and see what I'm saying is credible. I wonder why is this? What do you fear? What are you scared of? I'm not going to bring debate. I'm not going to bring an argument unless I feel as though it needs to be brought. And so we have all these conclusions, and they are in error because there are certain facts, there are certain realities that we just pass over because we have a certain narrative that we want to promote. And if we present these realities, if we include these facts that they actually teach but they ignore, they don't put emphasis on, it changes the narrative. So this makes you a liar and it makes you a deceiver, because your intent is not to be the truth bearer that you claim. Your intent is to promote your religion or other ideological thing that you decided to promote. And that thing has personal benefit for you. You're not really interested in the truth at all. But you fool the people by telling them, I represent the truth. I represent knowledge and understanding. No, you represent a lie. You represent deceit. And that is one of the reasons why those you think that have all this knowledge and understanding, they will not debate Angel Snup Nup 7. They will not challenge Angel Snup Nup 7, because they know that Angel Snup Nup 7 knows they are a liar and a deceiver. And I will show, of course, I would not be able to convince those who believe in the Bible, those who believe in the Quran, those who believe in Farrakhan, those who believe in Tommy Sotomayor. If you cannot convince those who believe anything. But there are those who have open minds. There are those who are actually seeking truth. You can affect them. And they don't want you to, and they don't want them to know about real truth. They don't want them to know about reality. So we are here this morning. Thank you, those in the chat and those who are listening and those who will be listening to this video later. We're going to deal with a redundant topic. A redundant topic that we talk about over and over again. And the reason why we do this is because we don't want to accept the reality, the truth of things. You want to keep telling your lie, keep telling your story in hopes that something is going to change. Nothing's going to change. It's a lie. Back in the day, I tried to be nice to people. Oh, you just making an error. That's a mistake. No, you are a liar. I'm no longer going to try to babyfy folks. I'm compromised. No, you are a liar. You're telling a lie. And I'm showing you that you are a liar. I want to make 2 points before we get into our main topic, and we're going to get out of here. I hope that the internet connection stays strong so that we can get through this. Two points I want to make. First point is about this Juneteenth, I don't know how actually you pronounce it. The celebration of the last slaves being emancipated in Texas. If I am in error, please correct me. I believe that's what it's about. the last slaves wasn't emancipated until 2 years later, 1867. I guess, yeah, that would be 1867. And Texas was the last state to be made and told that your slaves are free. Now, also in 1866, some of you may already know this because y'all very smart, you read everything. You're scholars and teachers and so forth. On the Indian reservations, slavery did not end until 1866 because, as you know, on the Indian reservations, they don't have to abide by federal law. They have their own laws that they abide to. And so the Indian tribes, the reservations, negotiated with the federal government, and slavery ended on these reservations. Also, the American black people, you can claim and say that you're a part of the Indian Aboriginal nation because many of our people was enslaved on these reservations. And they mixed themselves with us. Also, even prior to that, runaway slaves befriended Native American tribes. So just to say that we're Africans, that's just flawed, period. Because that's not the truth. That's not really the truth for all of us. Many of us have different origins, different connections here, different experiences. So the so-called black man and the native, just by this, have a connection. We're going to talk about this a little further as we explore how black Americans ain't descendants of Africans. I want to say that it's a wonderful event. It's a wonderful event that our ancestors was emancipated in Texas, bringing the end officially to slavery. Another holiday to celebrate. Tomorrow is Father's Day, I believe. Tomorrow? Another holiday for you to celebrate. Holiday, holiday, holiday. Nothing but symbolism. Father's Day, and the only thing you have to do is make a baby and have a penis. There's no evidence that you really are a father, a daddy, and a pappy, but there's no evidence to suggest that you are a father. Being a black man in America shows that you're not a father, because a father don't want his family living in a hostile environment, but you don't mind. You get your little family and you go to Disneyland and go out and get some ice cream in a hostile environment. Then you get caught up with some racists and they blow your brains out. That's acceptable behavior. A father, knowing that his family is in a hostile environment, is going to move his women and his children out of a hostile environment. You decide to make a life in a hostile environment. How crazy. June 10th. There's no evidence You were set loose, but there's no evidence that you are free. You make no laws, you make no policy, you control nothing. Free to do what? Oh, free to wear your pants sagging, showing the crack of your backside. Go down the street with yellow and pink hair, with a thong, wearing a thong and a mini skirt. That's what you're free to do. Free to sing nasty, disgusting songs and make millions of dollars. Free to take a rubber ball and throw it through a hoop. That's the best you can do with your so-called freedom. That's all freedom is. Free so that you can go to the legal dope house and get you some weed and smoke all day. Free to do what? So we have symbolism that is not backed up by substance. Symbolism not backed up by substance. So it means nothing. Juneteenth means nothing. Savior's Day, the Nation of Islam celebrates Savior's Day every year. But nobody has been saved. You get together on Savior's Day and talk about woulda, coulda, shoulda. Then you go home and eat turkey or whatever. But nobody been saved. You're still in the condition that you're in. Symbolism. And we are satisfied with symbolism over substance. Something that is tangible. Something just to make you feel good. I'm waiting on Jesus. Well, y'all been waiting on Jesus for 2,000 years. So you still waiting on Jesus. Symbolism. 3,000 years later, still waiting on Jesus. You cannot wait forever. Nobody's gonna wait forever. 2,000 years is ridiculous. When you order a pizza, and then they tell you, I might be 5 minutes late. You can bear with that. Oh, ain't number 5 minutes. But an hour go by, 2 hours. You're not gonna tolerate that. You call a cab. I'm only 5 minutes late. You'll tolerate that. Hour, 2 hours. You're not gonna tolerate that. But you mean to tell me, honestly, you're gonna tolerate waiting for Jesus 2,000 years and longer? You waiting on the mothership for 90 years. You got a serious problem. Feel good rhetoric, something that make you feel good. Just like that weed, just like that crack cocaine, just like you're not interested in being free. And the main reason is because you don't even know what it is. You never take care of yourself. You always been with the peckerwood. You never control a city, a state, a nation. You never done nothing on your own. Free to do what? You never been free. Your idea of freedom is going to the movies, going to the liquor house, going to the whole house, that type of thing. I'm free. And you accept symbolism. That's all it is. What you have become are people that raise snakes. And there is no food now, to my knowledge, there is no bad food that you can go to the pet store and feed a snake. There are certain fish, certain animals that they make pets out of. They will eat manufactured dry food. You have to feed them something that is alive, or at least dead, but it has to be whatever it is. So you have a snake in a cage and put these mice in the cage with the snake. And this is what we are. They call the baby, they call the little fish, they call the mice, they call them feeder mice, feeder fish, feeder grasshoppers. The purpose of the feeder animal is to be food for this other animal trapped in a box, in a cage. When you put these feeder grasshopper, feeder fish, and feeder mice in the bowl, in the tank, cage, or whatever, with this animal that is going to eat them, these feeder, oh wow, this is us. These feeder animals, they don't even view the animal in the cage as a threat. They start trying to live life like there's no danger. Some of you have seen this. Some of you do this. Some of you have animals at home and you feed your animals these. They just start running around, act like everything is normal. In some cases, the feeder animals are there long enough, they can actually breathe. They don't feel like they are in no danger or nothing. They live in their life of freedom. Next thing you know, they start disappearing. Used to be 5 mice, now it's 3. Used to be 10 grasshoppers, now it's 2. The purpose of them in that tank is to feed this one particular animal. Here we are in America, living with a beast, living with a predator, and we know that's what they are. We don't guess. That's what they are. We know what kind of hostile society we live in. Yet and still, we run around here like we don't live in danger. We go to work. We bake a cake. We celebrate birthdays. We have babies. We have families. We're not in danger. And then you get upset because George Floyd got choked out. So what? He's supposed to get choked out. His parents knew they was having babies in a hostile environment. The chances of that happening to George Floyd, the probability was there. Like all of us, any of us can be victims at any time. I don't care who you are. You can be rich and famous, you can be poor and homeless. It do not make any difference. We are feeder fish, feeder animals. And then you have immigrants, even your Africans. They come into our neighborhoods and they feed off us also. Because we're feeder animals. We exist so others can feed off of us. That's why we exist. That's why we live. And you go to the Arab store, go to the Chinese place, get your stuff, your gas and your cigarettes from the Arab store, and get your weed from the Koreans, and you get your whatever from your rice from the Chinese, and you just living your life. Not a care in the world. Smoking on a cigarette, relaxing, belly full of liquor you got from the Arabs and the Chinese rice. This is how we live. Not a care in the world. Feeder animal. And you have the Nation of Islam. You got the Moorish Science Temple. You got the Hebrew Israelites. You got the Black Church, and the list goes on, and you still a feeder animal. All your wisdom, all your knowledge and understanding don't change the fact that you're a feeder animal. This is the reality of it. All your costumes, I'm a Moor, and you put on these costumes and fezzes and don't mean nothing. So all over the country, I heard the lynching has started again. They call it suicide. Is it a shock? Not to me. You live in a hostile environment. It's supposed to happen. Sandra Blair is supposed to happen. Sean Bell is supposed to happen. Trayvon Martin is supposed to happen because you live in a hostile environment. The probability for any of us is there. But you are a feeder animal. And you just live in your life until it's time for you to die. Either they kill you or you go to prison unjustly. In your mind, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm a patriotic citizen. I don't do nothing wrong. I never end up in prison. Let's count the people who thought like that in prison, or they land in the morgue with a toe tag. You are feeder fish. The hell with being an African, the hell with being an Aboriginal, whatever you want to call yourself. You should have a problem with being a feeder animal, because that's what you are. You are no benefit to yourself at all. When a mouse have a baby living with a snake, who do that baby mouse benefit? It's gonna benefit the snake. The snake is gonna eat the baby and the mouse. Everything we do in America, living with these demons, your black business, whatever you do, the babies you have, whatever you do benefit them. Because you're not free. You're a feeder animal. You want to argue all day, I'm an Aboriginal, I'm an African. No, you a damn fool. Your priorities is all messed up. Look how you're living your life. Whether you are Aboriginal or whether you are an African, you are a damn feeder animal. So what? So it means nothing. In the grand scheme of things, it means nothing at all. Now look, let's do this and get out of here. I want to say this before the Aboriginal folks get all happy. It makes no difference if you claim an Aboriginal or African, the so-called Black American. We are not descendants of neither. We are not Africans and we are not Aboriginal at all. I'm going to show you why. More simple reason. People are going to believe what they want to believe. Just like they believe in Jesus. You're not going to stop nobody. That's what they want to believe in. You know, if somebody is short and they think they're tall, if that's what they want to believe, even though clearly we can see that you're short, but they want to believe they are 6'9", 7 foot tall, there's nothing that you can do. Because some people, I mean, they just love lies. Lies make them feel good. So, when something make you feel good, they're not interested in the truth. They're only interested in what makes them feel good. They know it's a lie. The people, when they listen to my explanation of what I say, they know I'm not lying, because if we really debated and we broke it down little by little, you're gonna lose. And they know it. It just makes them feel good. But those of you who come here, we only interested in reality, whether it makes us feel good or it could make you feel bad. We just want to know the facts, the reality of it, the truth. So listen, whether you listen or you don't. That's your business. Why should I get angry? But the thing about it, but what I will say is, we all suffer the consequences of our actions. So whether you listen or don't listen, no matter what we do, we suffer the consequences of our actions. And unfortunately, a lot of times, it's too late by the time we realize, damn, I should have listened. I want to use a grapefruit. Many of you know what a grapefruit is. You know, citrus fruit. A lot of people love grapefruit. I love grapefruit. You probably having grapefruit for breakfast this morning. Grapefruit. A grapefruit is not a natural citrus. A grapefruit is genetically modified by grafting. By grafting a orange and a lemon. The tartness that you find in a grapefruit comes from the lemon. The large size come from the orange. The grapefruit is not an orange. The grapefruit is not a lemon. It's a grapefruit. The grapefruit is not a descendant. Now here we go. The grapefruit is not a descendant of the orange. The grapefruit is not a descendant of the lemon. And the reason why it's not a descendant of the orange or the lemon is because it did not come into being by natural circumstance. It came into being by unnatural manipulation. It did not evolve naturally because something in nature caused the orange and the lemon to come together. So it did not descend from the orange. It's made from them, but it's not a descendant of them. It's a made organism manipulated by man. It just contains the elements of an orange and a lemon. And I just found out that the lemon is not natural. I found out that the lemon is also genetically modified. It's a fruit that is a combination of other citrus fruits, and they created something called the lemon. So, how could you, if the lemon itself, if the lemon is genetically modified, how could the grapefruit be a descendant of something that's genetically modified? It's impossible. The only way you can be a descendant is that you have to come naturally, evolve unscathed from wherever you claim that you descended from. You cannot be a descendant when you are genetically modified. So in the case of the Black American, and it does not make any difference whether you call yourself an Aboriginal or African. The original breeding stock, which I believe the majority really was Aboriginal, Native Americans on this continent, had to be. The transatlantic slave trade, all that stuff, when you really examine it, don't really make any, it's not making any sense. This is not to say that Africans did not come here, because they did, but not on this massive scale that we have been taught. It don't make any sense. The original breeding stock had to be Native Americans, the Aboriginal that was already here, had to be. When you look at something simple as the knowledge of medicine that these people had, it's impossible for these people to be Africans. Africans don't know nothing about the plants and the animals in North America. They have no idea. The natives been here for thousands of years. They understand the medicinal properties of the plants and what you can do with certain animals and so forth, because they've been here for thousands of years. You can get Africans from the continent right now, put them out somewhere in the forest. They don't know, have no idea of what to do because all those plants and animals is foreign to them. But you're gonna tell me that the original breeding stock was Africans, but they had all this knowledge of native animals and fauna. It's impossible. It's impossible. Don't make any sense. And the judge from television, Judge Judy, Caucasian lady, I guess I don't know if that means anything, but Judge Judy says if it don't make sense, chances are it's not true. I agree with her 100%. If it don't make sense, chances are it's not true. So the original breeding stock had to be natives. Mind you, the racists called the native people Africans. He also called them Negro. I also heard that he called them colored. What other people is called African, Negro, and colored? The Africans themselves is not called colored. They're not called colored or Negro. Who else is called colored, Negro, and African? We are. And this Caucasian race is called the Aboriginal at one time or another, called them African, called them Negro, called them black. And we're called the same thing, but we're Africans, not going for it. Even so, the original breeding stock, and we can include Africans, they came later on. They're not the original majority breeding stock. I'm not saying they're not here, they never was here. I'm saying they're not the majority original breeding stock. Now, the original people, they were the descendants of Aboriginal. They were the descendants of Africans. The original breeding stock almost 500 years ago. They were. They had an evolutionary, they had a connection. They was not mixed up with nothing. They were the descendants. They were the family of Aboriginal and Africans. Now the problem here is for us, and I would like to refer, because I don't want to go into details. I have a video called How the White Man Created Black People. And when you look at that video, I simply explain everything. It explains your behavior, it explains how you look, it explains everything about you, because when you understand how you was created, now I understand. This is the reason why I don't get angry with black Americans anymore. I'm not disappointed with black folks no more, because I understand what happened to us. I understand why we are what we are. I understand our real creation, not none of this religious mumbo jumbo. I'm talking about the history that they tell, but it's certain things that they just ignore because they want to fit this narrative. The first thing that happened was the Aboriginal was not the same. The Aboriginal people was different. And the Africans was brought here, they was not the same. The first thing that happened was the different Aboriginal and the different Africans was forced to interbreed. The first step of genetic modification of an organism. Because the children that is going to be produced is not going to be none of them. It's not going to be nobody original. Just like what happened to the grapefruit. See? The African and the Aboriginal people mixed. They are not the same. So the children produced is going to be mulattoes. This is genetic modification. Except it's not done in a laboratory. So, as time goes on, the originals start to disappear. They start dying off. And the only thing you're going to have left is these mixed folks, these mulattoes. They're not Aboriginal. They're not Africans. Now, there are those who claim to be an African, who claim to be an Aboriginal. They claim, my family pure. It's almost impossible. You talking about going on 500-year history. How the hell your family survived not being mixed up? Tell me how they pull this off. Another problem here is they was calling mixed people Africans and Aboriginal. They were no longer Africans and Aboriginal. They was mixed. They was mulatto children now. Now, another addition to genetic modification is the Peckerwood himself. He raped our people for hundreds of years. When you go to Africa or you look at any type of people, there is a consistency in their look, their physical look. There's a consistency in their look. You can take a male and a female and say, basically, this is what our people look like. Because they have a consistency in their look. But when you're talking about an admixture people, a mulatto people, they don't have a certain look. Just like dogs. Mulatto dogs look different. They don't have a certain look. Now, mind you, you can get a mulatto dog and that dog look just like a German Shepherd, a purebred German Shepherd. A mulatto dog can look like a purebred Chihuahua. A mulatto dog can look like a purebred Rottweiler, but it's mixed. It's mixed. And you can tell by the behavior, because purebred dogs have a certain behavior. And you get that dog that's a mix, and if you study the behavior, you say something's wrong with this dog. It looked like a Rottweiler, but it don't act like a Rottweiler. So you can look like an Aboriginal, and you can look like an African, and some of us can even pass for white people, but we're not.
Speed warning.
We're genetically modified. You're not Aboriginal, you're not African, You're not white either, because we have that in our bloodstream too. We become our own people, just like this fruit called grapefruit is a grapefruit. And what's wrong? What's wrong with being a grapefruit? People love grapefruit. You cannot help how you came onto this world. We cannot help how we come to you. We have this fantasy thing about who we are. My mother only has a 6th grade education. My father was illiterate and he was a drunk. I cannot do nothing about that. I cannot do nothing about that. We want to live in fantasy, and we don't want to accept who and what we are. Your mother was a prostitute. Your daddy was a dope fiend. That's just the reality of it. There's nothing that we can do about it. You can lie and try to paint your mother and father as something that they never was. But that's what it is. We don't like to be called some kind of, because we believe this, we turn into some kind of creature. I'm not an aboriginal. I'm not a, so you telling me I'm some kind of creature? That's what we are. Not a creature. We are a product of genetic modification. And you say it yourself. You say that we were slaves. You said that we was treated like animals. The same thing they do to animals. Genetically modified chickens and pigs and cows and horses. Same thing happened to them. Same thing. They are not pure either. They're genetically modified. It's not your fault. It's not that animal fault. Why are you upset? I said it's a blessing. Because you got the best, also the worst, but you also have the best of all the worlds in your DNA. Why you think the black man of America, why you think we so tough? Why you think we got that swag? Why you think we just so different than anybody? We are beautiful people. Makes no difference how we come into being. Nobody is like you and me. Why you want to be them? Force yourself to be something that you're not. People love grapefruit. They buy grapefruit every day. Grapefruit is valuable. The reason why you act the way that you act, because you think you have no value. You got to be an African to have value. You think you got to have all this ancient history to have value. You create your own history. You bring value to yourself. You don't need nobody hand me down. I don't need African hand me down. I don't need Aboriginal hand me down. I'm perfectly fine in my skin. But you do. And I see some of these people out here trying to be an African, trying to be an Aboriginal, trying to be an ancient Hebrew Israelite they never met, and we look so You look so lost, you look so silly, and just, you're in bad shape. You cannot be a descendant and you're genetically modified because you did not descend. To be a descendant is an evolution, a natural evolutionary process that happens over thousands or millions of years. That's the reality of things. We are genetically modified people. A genetically modified organism. You cannot call, if you mix a plum with an apple, you cannot call the fruit a plum or apple, because it's not. How you gonna call yourself an Aboriginal or African, and some of y'all talk about, go get your DNA test, go get your DNA test. The DNA, the fake bogus DNA test, it even tell you how mixed up you are. You're not a pure nothing. And then it tell you about your European side, and you ignore that too. I don't acknowledge that. So you don't acknowledge, so you deny the truth. That's what happened. That is there. You can't. These people keep throwing that DNA crap in my face. Their DNA test, it talks about a certain percentage is Caucasian. They just gonna ignore it. Or it might even say that you have Asian or whatever. Oh, I'm just gonna ignore that. I'm an African because 50% does not make you pure. If you put 50% gas in your car, let's see how your car gonna respond. That's not pure. 50% grape juice is not grape juice. They call it cocktail. In order for something to be whatever you claim it to be, it has to be 100%. Not 75%. It has to be 100%. You're not pure. Get over it. But you're gonna keep believing in your lie, and you're just gonna hang with people that believe lie like you do. When you embrace Aboriginal, when you embrace African, not only do you embrace the so-called good, you also embrace the bad. So if the white man say at some point in time that the Africans enslaved Europeans, then you're guilty. You are an accessory to that crime because you want to be part of that history. I don't have nothing to do with that because I'm not African. My people didn't even exist. But since you're African and you want to embrace that, then you and that Caucasian, y'all gonna have a talk, because while you talking all that reparations crap, they telling you, Mr. African, hey, you enslaved my people back in the day. So I want reparations from you too. My people had nothing to do with that. My people have only been victims. My people cannot be accused of no atrocity against nobody. The only time my people can be accused of anything is because we was following the orders of our slave master. Fighting in World War II, fighting in Iraq, fighting in Vietnam. But besides that, you cannot accuse us of causing harm to nobody. Also, mind you, we as a people have always voted and always have been against war. So it's not like it's something that we wanted to do anyway. We American citizens, and Massa, the cracker boy in charge, said, we going to war with so-and-so, and there we go. So, I shown you, and it's very simple. Has nothing to do with belief. This is fact, because this is what happened. You cannot be a descendant of somebody unless you naturally evolve from them. Unless you naturally descended from them. And we did not. The original ancestors, they can make that claim. But they're gone. 500 years gone. There's nothing wrong with being who we are. I'm glad to call myself a soul brother. That's the name that we gave ourselves at one time. That I can say is something that we gave ourselves. It did not come from Africa, did not come from the white folks, did not come from the Chinese. And they wanted to have soul too. They want to wear afros. They like how we talk, how we walk, how we carry ourselves. Woo! Now we want to be them. They don't have no soul like that. And the reason why we have soul the way we do because of our genetics. We got a little bit of something from everybody. But you shame on yourself. You ain't good enough. Well, keep trying to copy people. Keep trying to be them. And then these suckers come to you, you ain't no real African. They can tell you that because they're pure. They live on a continent or whatever. Or they living on a tribe reservation or whatever. You ain't no Aboriginal. They can tell you that. Yes, I am, and you want to cry, whatever. Here's the people that's pure, that still have a connection, that can show you without a doubt how that they are descendants. You can't do it. You got to play Ring Around the Roses. And they look at you, fake ass Arab, Nation of Islam, you run around here, fake ass Muslim. The Quran, I'm going to say this and we're going to get out of here. Islam was given to the Arabs. That's who it was. The Bible was given to the Jews. It was not given to you. You're a fake Christian. You're a fake Muslim. If God wanted you to have something, God would have sent our own book, our own prophet. God gave you nothing. You always want to be somebody else. You think they all that. The hell with them. Well, you see, Islam is not a religion, it's a way of life. Islam is a religion. It says it in the Quran. The Quran says very clear, I give this to you as a religion. It didn't say lifestyle. It said I gave it to you as a religion. And who are he talking to? Talking to the Arabs. Ain't talking to you. And then they forced on their African slaves, these Africans did. That's another thing they don't like talking about. That's why you're a Muslim. Because those Arabs forced Islam on those African people on the continent. That's why you're a Muslim. The same way Christianity was forced on us. And that Islam has been with the African for so long, they think it's natural, it's for them. No, it was forced on you. And so you want to be all these people. You want to be an Arab. You want to be some kind of European. You want to be all these suckers. The hell with them. So you keep perpetrating the fraud. You keep going out there trying to be something that you're not. Looking stupid. Because you do, you look stupid. But at the same time, I don't want to be the N-word either. I don't want to be the N-I-double-G-E type word. Because that's the other alternative. You want to evolve into the best of your humanity. Be the grapefruit who you are, and people will be happy to love you every morning for breakfast and see your value. First thing you got to do is see value in yourself. But you can't find no value in yourself until you really get to know yourself. And yourself is not being a Muslim. Yourself is not being a Christian. Yourself is not being a Kemetic or Arab or none of these things. You are brand new. You're brand new. It's a beautiful thing to be able to afford to drive a brand new car. Nobody else drove this car. I want a virgin for a wife. It's good to know the only one this woman been with is me. Brand new. I don't want no leftovers. I want a fresh meal. I want a fresh meal. I don't want no leftovers. And that's what y'all do. Islam is somebody's leftovers. Christianity is somebody's leftovers. Y'all love leftovers. I don't want no leftovers. I want mine brand new. I want my peaches straight from the tree. I want fresh meat and vegetables. Y'all don't mind frozen food, canned food, because all that stuff that y'all talking about is old stuff that you should be allowed to die a long time ago. Even your Bible said that I will make you brand new.
Leave it to Moab to give Moses fucking warning that they're closing down a fucking lane.
Bring to existence a brand new earth. This is not to say that it's not recycled. Because that brand new car that you drive, I can guarantee you it's made with a lot of recycled materials. But it's been turned into a brand new vehicle. The black American is a brand new vehicle. All these other suckers have failed. Why you want to be a part of failure? Look at their world. Lying, wars, rape, greed. You want to be part of all that. They failed. You living in the result of being like them. They failures as human beings. treat women inferior. They have no respect for womanhood all over the earth. Destroy this environment, have no respect for life at all, and you want to be part of that. And I guess you do, because I hear it in your voice. Only thing you want to do is talk about the resources of Africa. You want to rape Africa too. Then when Africa don't have nothing else to give, then what? I don't want to be like these people. I'm happy to be brand new. I'm happy to be brand new. I'm happy to say and claim soul brother number one. That ain't good enough for these suckers. I'm a god, I'm a goddess, I'm a king, queen, I'm an African. That ain't good enough for them. When James Brown passed his life, that title ain't good enough for nobody. I will take it. I will take it. I would be soul brother. I would be soul brother number one. I would be different. I would be the representative of the new. So if you don't want no fast food, if you don't want no rewarmed leftovers, this is the place to be. Being new is like a brand new baby. You out here exploring life, understanding things, learning. And that's what we're doing. And as you grow, you begin to grow into yourself. Right now, we're not the people that we could be. I already know that. But once you understand who you are, accept who you are, and that growing process can begin, and then you can come into your own instead of out here trying to copy and be something that you never was. You never was no African. You never lived on a continent, never spoke the language, nothing. You never was an Aboriginal. You ain't never lived on no reservation. You never lived in a teepee. You never did nothing. Be your own and be yourself. And I guarantee you, you'll progress so much faster and do so much better. Ain't nothing wrong with loving yourself. Shame of where you come from. Shame on your origins. And that shame is always going to keep you down. Because that's not who you are. You could try. It's like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. You ain't never going to fit. And we as a people, as you can see, we already know that we're not trying to be Africans or Aboriginal. We're just trying to be who we are. Ain't nobody running around here hollering, I'm an Aboriginal. We as a people don't do that. We're just trying to live our lives, trying to be who we are. That's all. Because we as a people, we naturally know we don't fit in these other places. I don't care what our ancestry was. That's not who we are. So on that note, I thank you for listening. Jot down your comments, subscribe. And somebody left a comment. Do I think I'm mixed? I just spent an hour or so answering that question. While I'm talking to you, I'm answering, hey, I'm going to say this and we're going to be out of here. We have a problem listening. The only thing we do is hear. There's a difference. Hearing is just you heard the sound. Listening is you hear, but you also open to the details of the sound. Well, I heard that noise. It sounded like footsteps. It sounds like it might be a woman wearing high heel shoes. You listening for details when you listen. Hearing, you just hear the noise. So hearing is, I just hear somebody walking. Listening is, I think it might be a woman. She wearing high heels, and she might be obese, according to the sound. Because you listening, and you're going into more details. The reason why the person asked me the question, am I mixed, is because they're not listening, because they already believe they are African or Aboriginal. And the only thing they hear is somebody that is against or talking against what they believe in. That's all. So there's a difference between listening and hearing. So on that note, let me get out of here. I appreciate that so many would join me early this morning. Appreciate it. And maybe we might have a talk later on this weekend. That would be nice. But I'm very, very tired. I'm ready to lay down and find a decent meal and chill out. Tired. To go into more detail, I would like for you to watch how the white man created black people. I re-uploaded that video on this channel to give more details. And I know that people disagree. I don't care. You have the right to disagree. But you cannot debunk, you cannot refute, because that's what it is. You can be mad and you can be upset, but that's what happened. And you teach it yourself. You just ignore the fine details. Because it disturbs, it would disrupt your narrative of what you believe in. I have proven I don't need to PowerPoint. I don't need to go do the research. I don't need all these diagrams and documents. I told you very simply, make a reference to what you already know. And like Elijah Muhammad said, take it or let it alone. Like I told you, people are going to believe what they want to believe. But those who are interested in the truth, they're going to look at it like, wow, that makes sense. It makes sense because it's true. If it don't make sense, chances are it's a lie. On that note, I'm out of here. I'll catch y'all on the flip. Thank you YouTube, Facebook, for allowing me to use your platform. And those in the chat room, those who are listening and those who will be listening later, I appreciate you giving me, it's always an honor that you give me a few minutes of your time. I'm Angel Snubbing Up 7. This was and is the Reality's Temple on Earth. Thank you, twin. I sure will.